Hi everyone, this is Kim from KILA Printables and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm working on my Garden of Shadows journal, and if you haven't already seen the videos in this series yet, you might like to go and check those out. I've got a couple of videos where I showed you how I made the base of the cover, and then we spent some time decorating the front and the inside. So I'll set this cover aside for now because what we're going to do today is work on the signatures to put into this journal. So what I've got here is I've printed out all of the decorative pages from the Garden of Shadows journal kit, and I've then on the back of those printed the decorative papers. And then I've also gone through, I added a couple of extra pages from other kits. So I've got here some of my red, I've got one sheet that's got double-sided of my red patterned papers, which are also available in my Etsy store. I'll link everything down below in the description so that you can find all of these printables that I'm using today. So yes, I've got a red pattern paper, and then I've also got a paper from my Gothic Antiques journal kit and a paper from my Dark Academia journal kit. And then what I've also done is I've added in some other bits and pieces just to put some interest into my signatures. So I have 12 sheets of various pages in each signature. So I've added some book pages. So this was a page from a children's book that I had, so I've put that in. And I've also put in, I've got this beautiful handmade paper, and because this is a sort of has a garden theme, it's got some beautiful pressed flowers in this handmade paper, so I've used a couple of sheets of that. And then I've also got some black construction paper that I've used, and I'm going to show you when I trim everything down. I'll show you what I'm planning to do with this and why I folded it that way. I also have another book page and some more construction paper in the center here. I think it's called construction paper. It's also called cover paper is what I bought it from. I'll just show you what I've bought here. This is what I got from my local Officeworks store, and I actually bought the whole color range, so I'm hoping that I'll get a lot of use out of this and be able to use this in lots of my journal making. Okay, so in the second signature I've got the decorative pages, and then more of the cover paper. I've got this beautiful piece of vellum paper, so I'm planning to do the same thing with this. That's why I folded it this way. So I'll show you how I'm going to put that together once I trim everything down again. I've got another book page here. This is from an encyclopedia, I think, one of the Reader's Digest encyclopedias. And then I've also got this lovely page from a calligraphy book. I thought that the Gothic font would go really nicely with this journal. What else have I got? Oh, and another piece of the beautiful handmade paper. Okay, so now that I've gone through what I've put into my signatures, I just need to go away and trim down all of the white edges off this. So my printer is not a borderless printer, and it leaves this white space. So I don't mind that, because it means that when I make my cover to an A5 size, once I've trimmed these pages down, they fit really nicely into that A5 cover. Okay, so I'm going to go away and trim all of those down, and then I'll come back and I will show you how to sew them into the cover, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with these extra bits. Okay, so I've cut everything down and trimmed all the pages, and I've sort of with any book pages that were too large, I've just used my tearing ruler and I've torn along the edges of those to cut them down to size. So I've got those two signatures ready. Now, I had originally thought that this was just going to be a 2-signature journal, but I did think that it might be nice to include in the center a pocket. So I've printed out one of the decorative papers from the journal kit onto 200 GSM cardstock, and I'm going to sew that in like I would sew in a signature, and then we're going to glue that closed so that I can use it as a pocket that will sit in between my two signatures. Okay, so to get the signatures into the journal, I've made a template. So my spine was 5 centimeters by 21 centimeters, and what I've done is I've folded it in half, and then I've folded from the edges to that half mark to get the lines where the signatures are going to line up. And then I folded it in half lengthways. Oh, sorry, you know what I mean because I'm showing you. So I folded it in half this way, and then folded it up to that center line again to get where I'm going to put my holes to sew my signatures in. So I'm going to follow this guide, and what I'm going to use, I've got some wax thread here. I'm going to go with the black wax thread because of the theme that we've got going with the Gothic garden. So what I would normally do is measure roughly 3 times the height of the journal. It should be enough thread to sew in my signature. So I just need 3 pieces of that, and then I'll do the sewing. So what I'm using is a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and it basically, you start in the center through the center hole, but I'll show you in a second how that works. Okay, so just sit back and follow along. I'm going to probably speed this section up a little bit, so if you want to follow closely, you can either pause it or slow that down. Okay, so they're all sewn in now. So what I plan to do with these, I've left these longer because I want to fold these pieces back and make pockets out of them. And I'm also planning to, I mentioned before that I've sewn this extra sheet in the middle because I wanted to make a pocket out of that. I'm going to do the same with these smaller pieces in the middle of my signatures. Thank you for watching this KILA Create Printables tutorial. I hope you enjoyed crafting along with me today as I added the signatures into my Garden of Shadows journal. Don't forget to check the description down below for a link to my Etsy store where you can find the Garden of Shadows journal kit along with lots of other kits for your crafting projects. Please also come and join my Facebook group where you can download a stack of freebies and join in lots of crafting fun. And please remember to like and subscribe to my channel for more crafting tutorials.